Namaste, namaste, and welcome to our first chair yoga class of 2024. It's a glorious day, both on the West Coast, where my online yogis are practicing live with me, and here in close to Dollar, so on centrally bit, I guess. But it is also Blue Monday. So Blue Monday is reported to be the lowest day of the year. It happens in the middle of January when your New Year's resolutions perhaps are slightly waning. The energy and impetus of the new year is slightly waning, and often the weather is terrible. But fortunately for us, it's not terrible today. And we are going to use our yoga practice to alleviate some of those perhaps feelings of I just want to hibernate and stay on my own, and bring a little lightness to our hearts and our bodies and our minds. So today in our practice, we are going to use a few little bits of equipment. So obviously our chairs, which we're sitting on. You might need a block or a little stack of books or a little footstool, something that you can rest your foot up onto. We've got a spiky ball. So all of the regular yogis have these to hand, but if you don't, then one of those washer dryer balls or any kind of ball will work. It doesn't need to be spiky. I've also got a tennis ball here because we're going to throw and catch. Throwing and catching the spiky balls is not as comfortable on the hands, but an apple or an orange or a cushion would do just as well. And I have got a yoga strap here, or a yoga belt. And you could use anything from a scarf to a bath towel to a dressing gown strap, whatever it might be. Those are the equipments that we will need. So if you need to pause the video and grab those things and have them to hand, then go ahead and do that. For now, we're going to get started by sitting tall. We want to sit at the front of the seat, making sure the buttocks are firmly supported, but we've not really got much chair underneath the backs of the legs there. So we're encouraged to press the feet into the floor, using a block underneath your feet if you need to, and then just gently tilt the pelvis forward a little bit so that we can find that natural lift through the body. This helps us to sit upright without needing as much effort. We can let the shoulders relax, the arms rest, the hands wherever is comfortable for you. Think about a little length in the back of the neck, so avoiding this jutting of the chin that sometimes happens. Sitting tall, closing your eyes or gazing gently downwards. We're going to begin with just taking this moment to step away from all the other things going on around you, to step into your space and this time, this present moment for practicing yoga. And as you make that mental step away from all those other things going on in your life, you perhaps feel already an easing of stiffness or tension or holding across your face, your shoulders, your chest. Make note of how you feel in this moment, how your body physically feels, the sensations, the bits of the body making themselves known to you. Our loudest parts are often the ones that cause us a little bit of discomfort. So at the same time, try to notice at least one part of the body that is comfortable, peaceful, quiet, at ease. Notice how you feel in your mind as well, the sorts of thoughts that you've been having, the emotions you might be holding at the moment. There is no right or wrong way to feel. We're just observing, not judging, not changing, just observing. Bring your awareness now to your breath and notice your breath in this moment. If it helps, you can rest your hands onto your belly and feel the abdomen move gently in and out as you breathe. You might just have a sense of awareness of the parts of the body moving as you breathe, your rate and rhythm of breath. The sensation of air moving in and out of the body, cool as it comes in through the nose, warm as it leaves the body. When you're ready, you can gently deepen your breath, taking a really big breath in. And as you breathe out, nice and slow on your exhalation, gently engaging across your navel, drawing the navel towards the spine to exhale fully. Soften the belly, breathing deeply into the sides of the body, the back and the chest. And breathing out long and slow and deep, engaging across the abdomen to breathe out completely. Soften the belly to breathe deeply into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. Breathing out long and slow and deep, gently engaging across the belly. Let's do that a couple more times. Deep breath in. Each breath lifts you, fills the lungs. And as you breathe out, just a softening of that effort across the shoulders, the face, the jaw. We're going to try this breath with a little sound as we exhale. We're going to use our mouths. So as we exhale, we're just going to make like a blowing sound, as if you were imitating the sound of the wind. But we want our exhalation to be really as slow as it's possible to make it without strain. So a deep breath in through the nose, feel that breath lift you tall. And as you breathe out, just forming the lips into an O like you were going to whistle, and long, deep exhalation. Deep breath in and out. Doing these in your own time if your breath comes faster or slower than mine. Make the next one really soft and light. And just one more in your own time. Allowing your breath to find its natural rhythm, falling into quietness, closing the mouth, maybe swallowing. And then when you're ready, you can bring the hands together at the center of the chest, keep the chest lifted, take your chin towards your chest, find that gentle bow, a little smile across the face. And then when you're ready, raising your head, opening your eyes and releasing your arms down. Hopefully you feel really calm and centered, having let go of the hubbub around you, and we can move into our moving practice now. So we're going to start with the head and the neck, and I'd like you to think about taking the head from this jutting forward position that so many of us hold and drawing the head back over the rest of the body so that the neck is long at the back as well as on both sides. Here we want our shoulders to be nice and relaxed. We're going to take our retracted chin and lean the head over to the left side. Doesn't matter how far you get to the left. All we're doing is leaning and we're holding here. So at the same time, we're going to let the head over to the right side. There we go. Let the left hand just hang by the side of the body. Let the left shoulder be really heavy. And in this sideways position, this might be enough. You might already feel that beautiful length down the left side of the neck. But if you would like to do a little bit more, you can lift your chin and lower your chin, keeping your head over to the left side. A little lift, a little lower. As if you were slowly nodding yes, with your head over to the right side. Keep muddling my lefts and rights this morning, apologies. The next time you draw your chin down, just come back to that centered spot over on the right side, and then draw your head back to center. Relax your shoulder and your arm. Relax the shoulders a little bit by giving them a little roll. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So retracting the chin first, taking left ear to left shoulder, or the other side if I muddled it for you. And then letting the right hand and shoulder be heavy, so moving as if they were being drawn towards the floor. Keeping this sideways bend, a gentle lift and lower of the chin, if that feels like it would be useful. If not, just holding to that side stretch. So if you're slowly nodding yes, left ear stays towards the left shoulder, right shoulder heavy. And it's really slow. We'll do one more up, one more down. Come back to that neutral sideways, and then back to the center, relaxing the shoulders, just noticing how that feels in the neck. Maybe you've been able to let go of a little bit of tension, fingers crossed. We're going to roll the shoulders, both of the shoulders at the same time. Rolling them all the way backwards. If it helps, you can do this with your elbows as well. You might want to just stick with your shoulders, that's fine. If working with your elbows seems to be working for you, you might like to make big circles with the arms a bit longer. Or you can start with small circles, doesn't matter. Work at the pace that suits your body. If the big circles are working for you, you might want to make them slightly bigger by drawing the hands towards each other in front of the body. Maybe even crossing the arms in front of the body. Being sure to also reach behind the body a little bit if you can. Let's do one more. And floating the arms to the side, just giving the shoulders a little shrug up and down. And then we'll take the arms nice and wide, draw the backs of the hands towards each other, chin to chest, stretch the fingertips towards me. And then sit tall, elbows come back, reaching the elbows behind you, and then turning the palms up towards the ceiling. Maybe lifting the chest, lifting the chin. Rounding through the spine, back of the hands towards me, towards each other, fingertips towards me, and then elbows back, sitting tall, opening the palms to the ceiling. One more time, rounding through the spine, and then sitting tall, opening the chest. And release the arms down to the side. Again, just giving the shoulders a little wiggle. My shoulders are feeling that because we did so much shoulder work in first class. So please excuse me. If yours aren't feeling it, then you don't need to do so much wriggling. Let's take our awareness now down to our feet, and we're going to float the heels up off the floor. Float all the way to the very tops of the toes if you can, and then backs of the toes down, heels down. So coming onto the balls of the feet, and then if you can, pushing all the way up to the tops of the toes, balls of the feet, heels down to the floor. Let's come up, balls of the feet, tops of the toes, balls of the feet, heels to the floor. One more time, balls of the feet, tops of the toes, balls of the feet, heels to the floor. And then just allowing, I need to turn my chair, just allowing your legs to come away from your body, heels on the floor, making some circles with the heels, letting the knees fall in and out here, wiggling the hips a little bit into the hip joints and going the opposite way as well. If it moves you, you can move your upper body with it as well. And before we stand up, we're going to place the hands onto the legs or the hips, if that's comfortable, and then just move the body in nice circles, as if you were drawing a circle on the ceiling with your head. So we're going to go around one more time in this direction and swap directions and go the opposite way. You need to use a little bit of belly action here. You need to use your feet, press the feet into the floor for support. You might feel you're massaging your buttocks on the chair, that's nice. And then coming back to the center, and we're going to stand up to do some practice on our feet. So it doesn't matter how you stand up, but if you can, reach forward, take your weight onto your feet, and then really press through the legs to stand tall. And as we come out of our seats, just let your hips come forward a little bit and backwards. Maybe just a little rock forwards, rock backwards, just so we ease off any tension in the hip flexors. And then standing up, we're going to make a little bit of space. So I appreciate we've got tons of equipment on the go here. So we're going to pop that to one side along with the chair. So create a little bit of space from your chair if you can. So we can do Kati Chakrasana, a lovely way to raise energy in the body and start our day. So feet, oh, I know it's not the start of the day, but feet nice and wide, a little soft bounce in the knees, just finding that support. Maybe play a little bit with your weight from side to side so that you can feel wherever center is for you, and then rest in the center, lifting all the way to the crown of the head. You're going to let the arms be nice and heavy, lifting in the belly, a gentle twist from side to side. And here, allowing the arms to be soft enough to wrap around the body and tap the body, the shoulders relaxing. And as you move, maybe you find that you've got a little bit more space to do that twist. If you would like to, you can resist the twist with your hips. So keeping the hips more centered, allowing the upper body to do the twisting, actually gives that sort of ringing sensation through the muscles of the torso. Quite nice if you've got any effort or tension holding there. And then when you've done a little bit of that, if you'd like to, you can pivot on your feet, just allowing the hips to move. They're no longer rigid, they can join in. Really nice, floaty feeling. And this has the effect of creating that opportunity to release tension just in a different area of the body. If you'd like to, you can add a soft bounce in the knees in the center. Bend and twist, or bounce and twist. If you'd like to, you can touch the opposite shoulder in front of you and the opposite hip behind you. Just giving a destination for the arms, a little bit of extra rotation through the shoulders and the chest. Whenever you're ready, you can let that bounce go and simply pivot on your toes. And then bring yourself to standing on both feet steadily and sway back to center. And then standing tall, find that space to reach the body up towards the ceiling. Allow the shoulders to be nice and soft and observe the effect of your practice. So hopefully you're beginning to feel that internal vibration, that sensation of movement. Very good. So we are going to do a little bit of action for our hips before we get into the feet. So with your hands on your hips, if you'd like to, we're going to just gently rock the hips from side to side. So here we let the rest of the body move if it would like to, using a touch of firmness across the belly and maybe across the legs. So the legs are not locked straight, just a soft bend in the knees there, or a little buoyancy in the knees there. So you switch on the muscles of the thighs. And when we've done a little bit of side to side action, we can come back to the center. We can do forwards and backwards. So we're going to let the hips come forwards and let the hips come backwards. And from the side, it looks a little bit like this. And so here we need to firm the buttocks as we let the hips come forwards and firm the belly as we let the hips come backwards. A little bit forwards, a little bit backwards. Don't need to go far. If your movement is smaller, that's okay. As long as you're moving, that's the key thing. When you're ready, you can come back to standing upright. Give the shoulders a little roll if they would like it. We'll do something for our shoulders and then come back to our hips. So we're going to take our hands, nice wide fingers, and roll the wrists in circles. And here we're going to also make some arm movements as well. So we're going to roll the wrists in circles and take the arms around the body. Perhaps they go all the way up, perhaps they go a little bit up, perhaps one arm moves differently from the other, it doesn't matter. Just rolling to wherever you get to. When you get to the top of your movement, roll the wrists in the opposite direction to bring the arms down to the sides. We'll do that one more time. So at the bottom of the movement, change directions again, rolling the wrists, taking the arms all the way out. Long arms, try not to bend the elbows too much to wherever you get to, and then change directions, roll the wrists, coming all the way out and down. Very good. At the bottom, maybe give your shoulders a bit of a shrug, or maybe some dancing shoulders. We do love a dancing shoulder in this class. And then we're going to come back to our hips. So reaching the arms wide. They don't need to be all the way out to the sides. They can be lower, they can be more forward, whatever works for you. What I'm trying to get you to do is focus on your peripheral vision. So make sure you can see your hands in your peripheral vision. If your peripheral vision isn't working so well, then don't worry about it. Still reach the hands out to the side, and you never know, you might just develop a little bit more than you have at the beginning of the class. So we're going to take our shoulders and roll them down, bend the knees just a touch, and then we're going to swing the hips from side to side, but try to keep the shoulders still. So this is different from our previous hip motions, swinging the hips from side to side. And if you can see your hands in your peripheral vision, you'll notice they're not moving because your shoulders are nice and still. Going to do the same thing, but forwards and backwards. So reaching the hips forwards and backwards, trying again not to move so much above the waist, the chest, the shoulders, or the arms. And when you're ready, you can come back to center. Just lengthen your legs for a moment. Relax your shoulders down for a moment. Give yourself a dancing shoulder. And then we're going to come back to that motion and make circles. So reaching the arms wide again, reaching into the fingertips, settle the shoulders down, a little soft in the knees, and then rolling the hips in circles. Again, trying to keep that motion happening below the waist, below the chest. Very nice. You might need to press into your feet a little bit. We're going the opposite direction as well, and just doing what you can, what comes naturally, not a problem at all. As with all things, if you want to improve, you need to practice. We'll come back to the center, stand tall, relax the arms down, roll the shoulders a little. And maybe make a few elbow circles here at the side. Very nice. Okay, so let's use the chairs for a bit of support and we'll roll our feet on our spiky ball. So I want to activate the feet so that we can use them for some action later on. So using perhaps a wall and a chair, or just a chair as you choose, resting whichever foot is closest to your ball on your ball. Doesn't matter which one you start with. You want to roll the ball all the way around the sole of the foot. And it's up to you how much down pressure you put into the ball. All I would say is if you're on blood thinners, then just try not to rest too much weight into the ball. A little stimulation is all you need here. For those of you who enjoy the stimulation of the spiky ball, you might like to rest your weight a little bit more. So working across the whole of the foot, from the toes towards the heels. My ball always escapes me when I'm on this floor instead of on the yoga mat. And then perhaps rolling through the length of the foot from toes to heels, having done some circling. And if you have a different method that you would like to use, that's fine, absolutely, you go for it. We want to do a little bit to the outside edge, a little bit to the inside edge of the foot as well. Whenever you're ready, you can rest your foot on the ball, and if it's comfortable, you can lean a little bit into the ball. But again, just doing what suits your body and taking care of those nuances that are your individual things going on. When you're ready, step onto both feet and observe how that feels left to right. You might need a little swing of the hips or a swing of the shoulders just to balance out the effort in the standing side of the body. And then we will do the same thing on the other side. So trying to stand nice and tall, rolling your ball around the foot in circles, starting from the toes. And if your ball escapes you, likes to run away, it's just a comedy moment, really, isn't it, in practice? We did a bit of juggling. We didn't really. We did throwing and catching in the first class. We're going to do that in our class as well, with our other balls, or spiky balls if you prefer. And that was definitely a comedy moment. The first time I threw and caught the ball, it went away. And I thought, yes, need to practice these skills, Sarah. There we are. Oh, so once you've rolled all over the sole of the foot, you can roll backwards and forwards through the length of your foot. Nice different way to use the muscles in your legs, using the inside edge and outside edge of the foot as well. Very good. When you're ready, you can rest your foot on your ball wherever is comfortable. If you want to, you can give it a little bit more pressure. And you might find that sweet spot on the sole of your foot that just loves that kind of stimulation. And then when you're ready, standing onto both feet, just noticing how they feel, how alive the muscles in your legs, the energy in your legs feels after doing that. And remember, this is a practice you can do anytime. You can do it sitting in front of the TV with one ball underneath one foot and then the other, just a few minutes every day. You'll be amazed at how much stimulation that brings to the energy of the legs. I'm going to pop this ball to one side so that I don't trip over it. And then we are going to come to our chairs, and we're just going to do a little bit of work with our toes coming up and down. So we're going to start with our feet parallel or parallel-ish. So if your feet prefer a little turnout, that's fine, but we will work with turned out feet later. So now we're aiming for parallel or parallel-ish. Resting your fingertips onto the back of your seat. You could use a wall here if that is preferable, if your chair isn't quite high enough at the back. And then we're going to gently lift through the body. So we want to create that openness in the chest by drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, finding that breadth across the chest, a lift in the belly. And then we're floating up onto tiptoes and then back down, heels towards the mat. So floating up onto tiptoes, we've done a little bit of this sitting down. and back down towards the mat. This time as you come up, I just want you to look down at your ankles and check that the ankles haven't sagged out to the side. So pressing into the big toes and then floating down. And again, doing what naturally comes, remembering that a little bit of practice really helps to develop strength, stability, movement, flexibility, all of these good things. Very good. At the bottom of this movement, just bending your knees a moment, giving yourself a little bend and stretch. We're all about stimulating from the feet up today. And then we're going to do up and down alternate sides. So lifting the heel of the left foot, and then we're going to press up onto the right toes as well. Take the left heel down, and then press up, both heels up, and take the right heel down. So a little walking from side to side, still with that centered lift, the belly muscles gently active. Excuse me, the shoulder blades moving towards each other, the chin lifted so the neck is long. Think ballerina or something similar. Very good. One more time, going from side to side. Excuse me. Floating both feet to the floor, bending your knees while I take a little swig of water. I'm out of practice with talking for so long all at the same time. So now we've done those ups and downs, we might want to give our ankles a little bit of a circle. So you can do this sitting down if you like to. Lift one foot to one side, circle, and then lift the other foot to the other side and circle. And the other thing is that we might want to give our feet a little bit of a rest. We do something for our shoulders while we're standing. So we're going to try this with a block underneath one foot. For those of you who are comfortable, you can step one foot onto the top of your chair seat. So that's a really nice thing to be able to do. If it doesn't happen naturally, then you can use a block or a stack of books or a stool and pop your foot up onto it. Here, if we had our foot up on the chair, you notice how much further forward my left foot is than my standing right leg. So we want the same thing to happen with the block, not super far, but we want to be able to have a little bit of distance between that front foot and the back foot. If you need a chair for support, then hanging onto your chair as well. So here we've got the hips about square. We're going to reach the hands forward and then make fists with the hands and draw the elbows back, turn the palms upwards, elbows back so the hands come into the sides of the body here at the rib cage. And we don't want to have chicken wings. We want to draw the shoulder blades towards each other and the elbows towards each other behind the body. Lift up through the crown of the head, press into both feet, and then just gently turn towards the left. So the left foot is forward, we turn to the left. If the right foot is forward, turn to the right. So we're turning as far as we can without turning our hips. So the hips are staying forward, trying to turn the upper body. When we get there, we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, see if you've got a little bit more room to turn. Do it one more time. Elbows coming towards each other, shoulders down, deep breath in. As you breathe out, see if you can turn a little bit more. And then unwind yourself to center, relax the arms, step onto both feet, give yourself any little wiggles that would help. And if you spend a lot of your time sitting, either working at a desk, or perhaps you read, or in my case, doing knitting or watching TV, whatever it might be, then this is a really good way to build strength back into the upper part of the back, to help your posture, to help your breathing, to help your heart be open. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So again, you can do this with your foot up on the chair, if it feels comfortable to do that, or foot on a block in front of you. If you need to get yourself steady by holding onto the chair first, that's fine. And standing tall. For those of you who really find this quite difficult to balance, this practice, the upper part of the body is the most important thing. So you can do exactly the same thing, sitting on your seat with your elbows back and doing the twist. So please feel free to do that. I should have mentioned it on the first slide, I apologize. So we're going to stand tall, hips about square, reach the hands forward, make fists out of the hands, turn the palms up, and then bring the elbows back so that the hands are either side of the rib cage. We don't want those flappy chicken wings. We want to press the elbows towards each other and roll the shoulder blades down, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then here, we take a deep breath in and twist to the right or to the opposite side if you were doing the other leg. When you get into your twist, just check that your hips haven't followed. You're just twisting with the upper body. And we take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, see if you've got a little bit more room to move. Elbows stay together and down. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, maybe a little bit more room to move. When you're ready, you can gently unwind, relax the arms, step onto both feet. Just give your shoulders a little wiggle, give your hips a little wiggle if that feels good as well. Smashing stuff. So if your block is on the floor and you want to leave it there, you absolutely can. We're going to come back to using the back of the chair. I noticed the sunlight's just found its way in here, which alters the light balance on the video. So apologies if I've suddenly gotten darker. I'd rather keep the sun able to come in there if that's all right with you. So we are going to come to first position in a ballet first position. So we want the heels to be towards each other. Now, I stopped doing ballet when I was 18, and I am no longer super comfortable with my heels together. It makes my hips do funny things. So together-ish is fine. Together-ish is fine. The important thing is that the toes are turned out. So facing our chair or support or the wall, whatever you might be hanging on to, your toes don't have to be super turned out. Just a little is fine. We're going to find that, again, lift through the center of the body, soft in the shoulders, and we're going to come up onto tiptoes, but with the toes pointed out, and then heels down. Up onto tiptoes, floating the heels down. This time when you come up, just have a little look and make sure the ankles haven't sagged out to the side, that you're pressing into the big toes so that you stand tall. It's really the big toe joint where it joins the foot, and release down. Let's do two more. Floating up, floating down, floating up, floating down. Excellent. And then here we're going to bend our knees, and the knees will travel over the toes or in that general direction. So they'll move out rather than straight forward, and straighten the legs. Just a gentle bend of the knees, straighten the legs. One more. This time we're going to bend the knees, and then here, firm in the belly, using the chair for support, come up onto tiptoes, knees stay bent. Heels down to the floor, knees stay bent. Up onto tiptoes, knees are bent, heels to the floor, knees bent. One more time. Up onto tiptoes, heels to the floor, and then straighten your legs and just give your legs a little shake out, one side and then the other. It's quite a lot of work. Here, if you'd like to, you can turn your, to point your toes. I'm going to adjust that. Please excuse me, I'm sorry. It's just, I think that light really is quite distracting. There we are. And it's important to be able to see, oh, look how bright that is in comparison. Okay, apologies for that. Who knew it was going to be so sunny on Blue Monday? So how lucky are we? We're going to point our toes back behind us, and it doesn't matter where you get to. So you might want to just point your toes. You might want to touch the top of your foot to the floor or your toe to the floor behind you. You might want to bend your knee a little bit just to stretch out the front of your ankle if that feels comfortable to you. Don't do anything that doesn't feel comfortable to you. So pointing the toe back is enough. You can even do a point and flex with the foot behind you, nice and lifted in the belly. And then when you're ready, stepping onto both feet, same thing on the other side, pointing the toe back behind you. Perhaps that toe touches the floor, perhaps the whole of the top of the foot comes towards the floor for a little stretch. If that works for you, it might be that you stay here and just do a little point and flex, and then step onto both feet again. Great stuff. I hope you're all doing okay. From what I can see on the screen, it's all good. We're going to come to using our blocks again. So here, it's better to use a block rather than the chair, if you used a chair in the first place. So we want to also get our balls, have them handy. So standing in front of your block, just placing one foot on the block. Excuse me. We want to have the hips still hip width apart. So if I do this facing you, this might be easier. I'm stood about a foot's length from my block. I step my front foot onto the block. I might need to bring my back foot in just a touch, but my feet are still hip width apart, and my toes are basically straight here. And so we can use the chair for support, no problem at all. Continue to do that if you'd like to. And then throw and catch a ball in one hand. I can't believe it worked. Very good. Now, as a bit of brain gym, I'd like you to swap hands. So you might need something else to hold on to, or you might feel you can balance to throw and catch with the opposite hand. And then if that feels good, you can throw from one hand to the other, just in front of the body, whilst you keep the legs in this position. Try not to sag into the hip of the standing leg. And when you're ready, step onto both feet and just give yourself a little wiggle from side to side, maybe a little march in place to ease out any hips, maybe a stir of the hips, stir of the shoulders. It's turned into a bit of a dance now. So for those of you who would like an additional challenge here, you can do this without your front foot resting on the block. So if resting on the block is good for you, that's great. In fact, ignore all of that. Come back to foot resting on the block and we'll do a little hip lift first. So front foot resting on the block, and all you're going to do is lift the hips to the left and then turn the hips to the right. Little lift, little lower. Little lift, little lower. So if you don't want to do the next stage, you can keep doing this. Maybe only 4 or 5 would be fine. If you'd like to do the next stage, you can float that front foot off the block, stand really tall, use your chair if you'd like to, and continue to throw and catch the ball. If you want to do it without the chair, you can try. Ooh, she said, look, it doesn't work for everyone, does it? So this really is challenging balance. So we've got the foot up and we're trying to keep that foot up and also throw and catch the ball. When you're ready, stand onto both feet. Feel the effort in the legs. So there's effort here in the front of the left hip where it's been lifted, and there's effort in the standing leg of your right side. And that's really what we're doing, is strengthening this standing leg. Awesome sauce. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Little swinging hip in between if you'd like to. We're going to start with the right foot on the block, using the chair for support, standing nice and tall, and then doing a little throwing and catching. You'll notice I favour here what looks like my left hand to you. It's my right hand in real life. But it is my easier to throw and catch things with hand. So do change so that you use both hands if you can, or from one hand to the other. Notice how that affects how you stand, the sensations in your body. When you're ready, step onto both feet again, in between, taking a moment to march in place or to give yourself a little wiggle or a little shimmer, whatever might be useful. And then we're going to stand with the right foot on the block again. standing nice and tall and just doing a little lift and lower. So a little lift, hip, lift, hip lower, hip lift, hip lower, hip lift, hip lower. You can keep doing that if you want to. If you want to, you can float your right foot off the block, and practice throwing and catching your ball. Using your chair for support if you'd like to, or a wall, whatever's good. Your knee doesn't have to be in front, it can be out to the side. You can throw from one hand to the other. Have a little fun with it. Hopefully it's making you giggle as much as it makes me giggle. Place both feet on the floor. Find that it's incredible when you've done so much on one side, when you step onto both feet, you suddenly realize how easy it is, how much easier it is to stand on both feet, how much more secure you feel on both feet rather than just one foot. It's a secret magic. So we're going to leave our balls to one side. Please place them somewhere where they'll be safe and out of the way, and also our blocks. Very good. And time really marches on. We've just got time for a little stretch before we come to do our relaxation. So here, using the back of your seat, we're going to walk our feet away, having the feet nice and wide, and then bending at the knees and reaching the hands forward, coming into our downward dog with the chair. Lift in the belly and just a gentle sway of the hips from side to side. And if it helps here, you can also look with your head from side to side, keeping the knees as soft as they need to. Maybe taking another couple of deep breaths. When you're ready, you can soften the knees a little deeper, walk forwards towards your seat. We'll take a cleansing breath, breathing in, taking the arms around the body and up, maybe looking up. And as you breathe out, drawing the palms together to the center of the chest. Let's do one more like that. Breathing in, around the body and up. Breathing out, palms together at the center of the chest. Relax your arms down to your side. Now, we haven't had time to use the belt for the thing that I wanted to do, which is just shocking. However, I'm just going to record a short video after this about releasing the neck and shoulders, and the belt action will be in that. And I'm sorry, we will get to it next time, perhaps. So for relaxation, you can, of course, choose to recline on a sofa or on your bed, or lie down on the floor if you like to. If you prefer to be seated, then coming into your seat, perhaps using a cushion underneath your buttocks. I'm going to use a cushion today because these seats are really hard. And also, if you need blocks underneath your feet, or a book or something like this, and of course, any extra layers or a blanket. I am going to use this really big cozy one here. So coming into your chair, we want to sit back into the chair in a way that we didn't at the beginning of class. We want the chair to be really supportive so that we sit back and we feel that we can release some of that effort that we've made in class. And after a 7-month break, you guys have done really well, so you should feel really proud of yourselves today and every day, I hope. So once you've got yourself settled and seated, resting your hands wherever they're comfortable, taking a moment to close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in, sighing out through the mouth. And repeat 3 more times, a deep breath in. Let all of the effort of practice go as you exhale. A deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. A deep breath in. And surrender your weight back into the seat, down into the chair, down into the floor. Allow your breath to find its natural rhythm, falling into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften. The space between your eyebrows spreading. The area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw releasing. As the face softens, take your awareness into the shoulders. Feel the shoulders soften. The arms relaxing, resting. The back of the body supported in your chair. Releasing muscles. Softening in the front of the body. Find your buttocks spreading as they release into the seat. Let go of any effort in the legs. Feel the thighs releasing, the calves relaxing, the feet, ankles, toes, soles of the feet, all heavy, supported, softening down. Having found this softness in your body, this heaviness, move your awareness to your breath. Become aware of the gentle and natural ebb and flow of your breath. Are you able to focus on your breath and keep your face and jaw soft at the same time? Feel your breath moving in your body. Feel the extra space that you've created in which to breathe. Allow your body to soften and relax, your mind to become peaceful and at ease with every exhalation. Om. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back to your hands and your feet, maybe wiggling your fingers, your toes, maybe rolling your wrists and your ankles, both directions. When you feel ready, you can take a deep breath in and begin to stretch the arms, the legs, maybe the chest. Oh, maybe yawn to stretch the face. Stretch one side and then the other. Oh. When you feel ready, you can bring your hands together and place them over the center of your chest. And just take a couple of deeper breaths here. Notice how much easier your breath is. Maybe you have a sense of slightly uplifted feelings, a sense of joy, a little smile to soften your face. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. Thank you so much for joining in this first practice of 2024. I know it's going to be an awesome year for all of us. I look forward to many more practices together, and I hope that you enjoy the sunshine of this day wherever you are. Namaste.